Welcome to Profitable Women, a podcast for the female business owner who wants to build a profitable and sustainable business that aligns with their life. We will talk about the money stories impacting your decisions, financial strategies to grow your profits, and how to embrace your female superpowers. I'm your host, Sheila Hansen, certified public accountant, business mentor, and certified coach. As a wife, mom of 3, and business owner, I have spent the last 7 years supporting 6-figure business owners make confident financial decisions while raising my babies. After making the hard decision to leave my job at a public accounting firm when I had my oldest, I'm now on a mission to empower women to build wealth without sacrificing themselves. If you find yourself avoiding conversations about money, are burnt out from working all the time, wonder where your cash goes, or want to learn how to pay yourself 6 figures, you're in the right place. Remember, the information in this podcast is general in nature and for educational purposes only. For specific financial advice for your situation, please consult a professional. Now, with that out of the way, let's get to the show. Welcome back to another episode of Profitable Women. In today's episode, I am sharing my own journey in how I grew my net profit by 15% in 1 year. There are 4 main things I did over the past 12 months that have helped me to grow my net profit by 15%. As a quick reminder of the key metrics we have in business, we start out with revenue, the money coming in from customers, and then we have expenses that can be broken down into 2 categories. Direct costs, also known as cost of goods sold. These are the inputs that are directly tied to producing the services we offer. And then we have indirect costs or operating costs that are those areas that just keep the business running regardless of how many customers we have. So when we take revenue minus those direct costs, that gives us our gross profit. If we look at that as a percentage of revenue, we can call it gross profit margin. And then if we take gross profit and subtract out the operating costs, that gets us to our net profit. And again, we can take net profit as a dollar amount divided by total revenue and get a margin or a percentage, or we can look at it as just a number. The 4 main things I did utilized the financial framework for confident CEOs, which is financial data, mindset, and forecasting. So let's dig into those 4 things that I did over the last 12 months that have grown that net profit number by 15%. The first thing I did was I finally got serious about creating a niche, whatever you use, ideal customer, and identified who it was that I was specifically working with. Now, this was not a formulated step-by-step plan. This was an experiment. With each step, I trial and error, I gathered the data, I made some adjustments, and I figured out who fit best into the bucket of who I wanted to serve and how I wanted to serve them. And in that, the mindset piece that came with it was learning that it was okay to say no to those that were outside of the bucket. It also meant letting go of some former clients who no longer fell within that bucket. Because what happened was trying to do all of the things for all of the people was actually limiting the impact that I could make. So I really needed to define who this was to help me set my priorities. Once I got closer to a definition of who it was I wanted to serve, then the next thing I did was refine my offers and listen to that specific niche on what they were struggling with, and not only what they were struggling with, but the parts of the solution that I was providing that they found to be most valuable. And this is where the biggest mindset shift came within how I put together my offers. I dug into the parts that actually created the transformation and added value for my clients. And I pulled out the pieces that were just the busy work that weren't helping us get them to the solution they were looking for. So I no longer viewed my packages based on the inputs that it took to fulfill the offer or the deliverable that I was providing the client as a result. I now viewed the offers from the transformational shoes of my client. So for me, they weren't purchasing a set of monthly financial statements. They are purchasing understanding their numbers in their business and being able to make financial decisions that get them closer to the financial goals. That's what they're purchasing from me. And when I viewed my package and offers in that lens, I was able to make the shift to start identifying the ways in which I could get them to that specific solution or result easier, quicker, and maybe in ways that actually decreased my time in doing so. So I had to revise and repackage what it was I was serving up. Hey there, fellow female business owner. Are you tired of sifting through endless articles, resources, and scrolling social media just to find the nuggets of wisdom that actually apply to your journey? Well, I've got something just for you. When you join our weekly email list, you will receive a go-to resource with actionable tips, inspiring stories, and valuable insights tailored specifically for women entrepreneurs like you. Each week, we deliver a dose of empowerment straight to your inbox, covering everything from mastering your money mindset to navigating the ever-changing landscape. Join other like-minded women who are leveling up their business and living their dreams. Sign up for the weekly email today, and let's conquer the business world together. Head on over to the show notes and find the link for you to enter your email address to get started. You'll be the first to hear about upcoming masterclasses and have weekly action items to contribute to your success. Sign up today. And the third thing I did was then, based on what it was that provided the most value to the customer or the client, I could set priorities on where to focus my time and attention. So this is where I could begin to look at improving systems or processes that would speed up and create efficiencies. This is where I could hire very specific help for the pieces that I needed, but it wasn't training them to do all the different things for all the different people. And then I could focus on continuing to add more and more value to that specific client. So when I got one thing tackled and added, I could move to the next thing that would add additional value. And then I was also able to invest very strategically in skills that I needed to help all of this. So, for example, investing in some sales training. I now knew the offer that could produce the results for the client, but learning how to communicate that message for others to see that before they purchased is a completely different skill. The skill that was needed then was in the communication of the offer, not the offer itself. And so I could focus my time and attention in growing in those other areas that would allow my business to be successful. And then the fourth thing I did that probably is the most important is I actually changed my prices. Now, again, there wasn't a formula I followed in calculating what these new prices were. It was trial and error. It was adjusting and adapting. It was a lot of conversations, taking the data, using that to forecast and see how it would play out, and then addressing my mindset to where I believed that would work. So, a couple things I had to do. Was it uncomfortable and did it feel scary? Yes. Did I have to address all of the thoughts that came up that had prevented me from adjusting my pricing previously? Yes. In the process, did some clients leave or potential clients I had conversations with say that this was now out of their budget? Yes. But the data also showed the majority of them didn't leave, and there were new potential clients saying yes. It also allowed the opportunity for me to have conversations with clients on what was most important to them and how we could create a solution that they were looking for in a way that minimized the effort on me and my team. And then it also took practice in using new language, new strategies, and gaining confidence for me to state those new prices. But the results for me show that it was all worth it. The impact allowed me to increase revenue by 5% while reducing expenses to make up for the other 10%. This backs up what we discussed in episode 4, when more revenue doesn't equal more profit. The majority of the increase in profit came from efficiencies on the expense side of things. The changes also impacted time and energy I spent on the business. So going forward, my focus will continue to be addressing the time I spend on the business and working toward maintaining my profit while reducing hours. But the first step was the work that I did over the last 12 months in maintaining and growing revenue while eliminating on the expense side. Running things as lean as possible, which meant simplifying who we serve and how we served them. Leaning on the financial framework, I could make some major progress within just 12 months on my overall profit. So today I ask you to think about your business. What would it take for you to grow your overall profit by 15%? Where are you losing time and energy and potentially money by spreading yourself too thin, by trying to do too much for everyone? What would a business that's more simple look like for you? And when you create that additional time and energy, when you make that a priority, how can you pour that back in and compound your impact within your business? How do we not shy away from those things that scare us, like repackaging our offers, changing our pricing, holding ourselves accountable to where we are spending our time, and making sure it is in the areas creating the most impact? So until next week, I encourage you to think about what a business with more profit look like for you. And if you haven't listened to episode 4, go back and listen to that one. We'll talk next week. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Profitable Women. Make sure you never miss an episode by hitting the follow button in your favorite podcast player. And things are always easier when you talk about them with a friend, so be sure to share this episode with them. If you're looking for more ways to grow your financial confidence, head to the show notes for a link to subscribe to our weekly email. Until next time.